Okay, here's something, maybe a bit strange, but have you ever really stopped to think about it? Why on earth did Satan want Moses' body after he died? It sounds, well, bizarre, right? Like something out of fiction. But it's actually right there a biblical mystery that kind of challenges what we think we know. So today, in this deep dive, we're going to unpack that. We'll look at Moses' life, his death, this weird celestial fight, and hopefully pull out some surprising insights, maybe give you a fresh look at a story you thought you knew.
It's an absolutely incredible story. I mean, Moses, what a figure. Leader, lawgiver, guided the Israelites for decades. Just immense. His life was, well, epic. Miracles, hearing from God directly on Sinai. But then what happens after he dies is frankly shocking.
Yeah, the Bible, specifically in Jude, verse 9, it's a book people often skip over. It mentions this fierce argument between Archangel Michael and the devil over Moses' body. It just immediately makes you go, wait, what? Exactly. What a life, right? Yeah. Leading people out of slavery, the 10 Commandments, 40 years in the desert. He's this pillar of faith. And yet, like you said, right at the very end, just before they enter the promised land, he makes this mistake, a big one. It's almost painful to read about.
Oh, it really is. And the mistake itself, it happened at the rock. Remember, the people needed water. God gave a very specific instruction. Speak to the rock. That's all.
Yeah.
Just speak. But Moses, he was under pressure, clearly angry, frustrated, and instead he struck the rock. And not only that, he said, must we bring you water?
Ah, that we. So it wasn't just disobeying the action, striking instead of speaking. It was also claiming some of that power, that miracle for himself and Aaron instead of pointing purely to God.
Precisely. Two key failures right there. First, the we, taking partial credit, you could say, diminishing God's glory in that moment. Second, the outright disobedience, striking, not speaking. It seemed small, maybe, but the consequence was immediate. God told him right then and there. Because of this, you will not lead the people into the promised land.
Wow. After everything, 40 years of leadership, sacrifice, to miss out right at the finish line.
It's incredibly sobering, isn't it? Shows the seriousness of obedience, even for someone as close to God as Moses.
Truly heartbreaking. And then things get even stranger with his death and burial. Deuteronomy 34 tells us Moses died there in Moab, as the Lord said. And then verse 6 says, God, buried him, but no one knows his grave to this day. God himself buries Moses and keeps the location secret. Why? What's going on there?
Right. That's where it gets really interesting. Think about it. God, the creator, personally handling a burial. It's unprecedented. It speaks volumes about the relationship, the bond, the honor God felt for Moses, an act of profound love and respect. But the secrecy, why hide the grave? This very unique act seems almost, preparatory, like God knew something might happen, perhaps setting the stage for this conflict.
Which leads us right back to that confrontation you mentioned earlier, Jude 1.9, Michael the Archangel versus Satan, a full-on dispute, not on earth, but somewhere else over the body, like a cosmic legal battle.
It really seems that way. And Michael, who's incredibly powerful, confronts Satan. But notice how he does it. He doesn't pull rank based on his own power. He doesn't say, I rebuke you. He says, the Lord rebuke you.
Yeah.
It's such a display of humility, but also profound wisdom, recognizing that the ultimate authority, the ultimate power to condemn evil belongs only to God. Huge lesson there.
Absolutely. Puts things in perspective. So, okay, Michael handles it with wisdom, relying on God's authority. But it still begs that central question. Why was Satan so incredibly interested in Moses' physical remains? What could he possibly gain? Let's explore those motives.
Okay, the first big one, and it's quite strategic when you think about it, is that Satan might have wanted to stop a resurrection or an assumption. Maybe he thought God planned to take Moses straight to heaven, like Enoch or Elijah. He wanted to interfere.
Oh, interesting. Like preempting God's plan.
Possibly. And what makes this compelling is, fast forward to the New Testament, Matthew 17. Moses does appear with Elijah talking to Jesus on Mount of Transfiguration.
Right. I hadn't connected those dots.
So maybe Satan, in his malice, was trying way back then to prevent that future prophetic appearance from ever taking place. It's quite calculated.
Wow, that adds a whole new layer.
Right.
Not just random evil, but strategic interference. Okay, what else? Another really strong possibility relates to idolatry. We know the Israelites.
Well, they struggled with that, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Big time.
Think about the golden calf incident back in Exodus. Right after receiving the law, they had this tendency, this weakness for worshiping things they could see.
Exactly. And Satan knows human weakness better than anyone. He likely figured, if I can get my hands on Moses' body, or even just reveal the location, I could tempt the Israelites to venerate it, make relics, build a shrine. turn the focus away from God and onto the man or his remains.
So God hiding the body wasn't just about secrecy, it was about protection, protecting his own people from falling into that trap.
Precisely, an act of divine wisdom and foresight, really, protecting them from themselves in a way.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, motive 3. This one ties into Satan's very nature. Revelation calls him the accuser of our brothers. That's his MO accusation. He could have wanted Moses' body almost like evidence, a physical symbol to hold up before God and say, look at this man. Look at his failures.
Failures, even Moses.
Well, yes. Despite his greatness, he wasn't perfect. Remember, he killed an Egyptian early on. He smashed the first stone tablets in anger, and of course the big one, striking the rock when told to speak. Satan loves to bring up past sins, to accuse and condemn. Having the physical body could have been, in his twisted view, a way to make those accusations more tangible, more public, in the heavenly court, so to speak.
It just shows his relentless nature, doesn't it? Never giving up on accusation. Okay, and there's one more main idea, right? Yes,
Yeah.
and this one is perhaps simpler, more about ego and defiance. Pure mockery. Satan is constantly in rebellion, constantly challenging God. What better way to symbolically thumb his nose at God than by claiming the body of God's chosen leader, the man who mediated the covenant? It would be like capturing a war trophy.
The trophy, exactly. A symbol of defiance. See, I got your guy. It fits perfectly with his pride and his ongoing attempt to undermine God's authority and plans.
So these are some really powerful, cunning potential motives.
But, and this is crucial, the whole story, from Moses' mistake right through to Michael's response, underlines one massive truth. Satan is cunning, yes. His schemes are intricate, but God's wisdom, his power, his plans, they are infinitely greater. Satan didn't win. God had the final say over Moses' body, just as he has the final say in everything. His purposes were not and cannot be thwarted. God is always ahead.
That's a fantastic point. So even in this weird ancient conflict, God's sovereignty shines through. Now, stepping back from the actual battle itself, what are the deeper takeaways here, the lessons for us, living our lives today?
Well, first, I think it hammers home the importance of keeping our worship pure, focused only on God. We talked about the golden calf, but even later, remember the bronze serpent God told Moses to make? People eventually started worshiping it.
Right, Nehushtan. King Hezekiah had to destroy it.
Exactly. Humans just have this tendency towards idolatry, towards worshiping the created thing instead of the creator. God hiding Moses' body was a defense against that. It reminds us, keep your eyes on God alone.
That's a powerful reminder. What else? I think the grace aspect is huge. Moses made a massive error. It cost him entry into the promised land, his life's dream in many ways. And yet, God still honors him. God buries him personally. God allows him to appear later with Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration.
Incredible grace.
It tells us that God's plan, his love, his redemption, it's bigger than our failures, even our really significant ones. His grace overcomes our mistakes.
Absolutely. His love is stronger. And that connects to a final point, maybe, which is about resisting temptation, resisting the adversary. Satan is clearly crafty. He looks for openings, for ways to divert us, just like he tried with Moses' body.
Using unexpected tactics.
Exactly. But Michael's example is key. He didn't fight Satan in his own strength.
Yeah.
He relied on God's authority. The Lord rebuke you. It shows us that we can stand against these things, not through our own power, but through faith, through relying on God and his word.
So as we wrap this up, maybe the challenge for you listening is to think about this story. Moses' body, the strange celestial fight, not just as some dusty historical event, but as a living testament, a testament to God's protection, his wisdom, his guidance, even in the hidden battles of your own life. How does knowing about this ancient conflict, this divine strategy, maybe change how you face temptations or unseen struggles? It's a reminder, isn't it, that whatever the adversary throws your way, God's wisdom, his power, and his love are always, always infinitely greater. Something to really hold on to.